You get nothing, Nora. My grandmother's voice rang out across the living room of her Connecticut mansion, where 32 family members had gathered for what she'd called an estate planning announcement. She sat in her wheelchair like a queen on a throne, her lawyer standing beside her with a leather portfolio. What she didn't know was that the medical equipment keeping her alive, the round-the-clock nurses, and the experimental treatments that had given her 3 more years, I'd paid for all of it. The announcement had come 2 weeks ago. Family meeting, Sunday at 2 p.m. Attendance mandatory. My grandmother, Margaret Whitfield, had always been dramatic, but this felt different. Ominous. My mother had called me 3 times asking what I'd done to upset Grandma. Nothing, I'd said honestly. I haven't done anything. But that was the problem, wasn't it? In my family's eyes, I'd done nothing. No corporate job, no prestigious career, no husband, no children. Just my little non-profit work that I never talked about. Now, sitting in Grandma's living room surrounded by cousins in business suits and designer dresses, I understood. This was my public execution. Nora has wasted her life, Grandma continued, gesturing at me with a trembling hand. She's 31 years old with no career, no prospects, no ambition. While her cousins built successful lives, she's been playing at charity work for a decade. My cousin Bradley smirked from across the room. He was a hedge fund manager who'd explained cryptocurrency to me at Christmas like I was 5 years old. Next to him, my cousin Veronica, a corporate attorney, was nodding approvingly. I've watched each of you build something meaningful, Grandma said, looking around the room. Bradley manages billions in investments. Veronica just made partner at her firm. David runs 3 medical practices. Elizabeth's restaurant won a James Beard Award. You've all made me proud. She turned back to me. Nora works at some women's shelter, making poverty wages, living in a tiny apartment, driving a 15-year-old car. She's thrown away every advantage this family gave her. The room was silent except for the soft beep of Grandma's heart monitor, the same monitor I.D. had installed last year when her cardiologist said she needed 24-hour observation. So today, I'm announcing my estate plans, Grandma said. Everything will be divided among my grandchildren who've proven themselves worthy. Bradley, Veronica, David, Elizabeth, and the others. Nora gets nothing. The room erupted in applause. My aunts and uncles beamed. My cousins looked smugly satisfied. My mother, sitting in the corner, was crying quietly. Grandma, I said softly, standing up. I understand. Do you? Her eyes were cold. Do you understand what a disappointment you've been? Your grandfather built a fortune from nothing. We gave you every opportunity, the best schools, the right connections, seed money for any business venture you wanted. And you chose to waste it all on charity work. Someone has to help people, I said quietly. Let other people help people, Grandma snapped. People without your advantages. You were supposed to build something, create wealth, continue the family legacy. Instead, you're serving soup to homeless people. We run comprehensive programs, I corrected gently. Job training, mental health services, housing placement, legal aid. I don't care about the details of your hobby, Grandma interrupted. It's not a real career. You make what, $30,000 a year? How do you even survive? I manage, I said. She lives in a studio apartment in a terrible neighborhood, Veronica offered helpfully. I saw it once. 600 square feet, 1 bathroom. Exactly, Grandma said triumphantly. While your cousins own homes, build wealth, create something lasting. Nora, you're a cautionary tale about wasted potential. I could have defended myself. Could have explained that the Women's Shelter was actually the Whitfield Foundation, a non-profit I'd founded at 21 with money from my first startup exit. Could have mentioned that we operated 17 facilities across 6 states, serving over 10,000 women and children annually. Could have told them our annual operating budget was $47 million. But I'd learned over the years that my family didn't actually want to know. They decided who I was, and information that contradicted their narrative was dismissed as exaggeration or delusion. I love you, Grandma, I said instead, crossing the room to kiss her cheek. I hope you have many more years ahead of you. I'm sure you do, she said coldly. Now that you know there's no inheritance coming, you'll have to figure out how to survive on your charity wages. I smiled and returned to my seat. My phone buzzed in my pocket. A text from my assistant, board meeting in an hour. The hospital expansion proposal needs your approval. Also, Mrs. Whitfield's care coordinator is asking about Q1 payment, $847,000 for medical expenses. Standard authorization? I typed back quickly, approve the expansion. Yes to Q1 payment. We'll call after this meeting ends. Grandma's lawyer, a stern man named Harold Banks, cleared his throat. Mrs. Whitfield, we should review the actual documents. I need to verify some final details. What details? Grandma asked. It's simple. Split everything among the grandchildren except Nora. Yes, but there are some items in your financial records that require clarification. Harold was pulling papers from his portfolio, his expression troubled. I need to understand the source of certain payments. What payments? Your medical expenses over the past 3 years. Harold spread documents across the coffee table. Your insurance covers standard care, but the experimental treatments, the private nurses, the specialized equipment, those total approximately $2.4 million. The bills show they were paid in full by an anonymous donor through a medical trust. The room went quiet. Grandma frowned. Anonymous donor? I assumed the insurance covered everything. No, ma'am. Insurance covered perhaps 20%. The rest was paid through something called the Whitfield Medical Trust. Harold pulled out another document. I've been trying to identify the trust's founder for weeks. It's been paying your bills since you were first diagnosed. Who set up the trust? Uncle Richard asked. That's what I needed to clarify today. Harold looked around the room. The trust requires the founder's permission to disclose their identity. I sent a formal request last week. My phone buzzed again. My lawyer, Harold Banks, received authorization to disclose the medical trust details. Proceed. I typed back, yes. Harold's phone chimed. He read something, and his face went completely white. Oh my. What? Grandma demanded. Mrs. Whitfield, the Whitfield Medical Trust was established by your granddaughter, Nora. He looked up at me, then back at Grandma. She's been paying all your medical expenses for 3 years. Every bill, every treatment, every piece of equipment. $2.4 million total. The silence was absolute. That's impossible, Grandma whispered. Nora doesn't have money. She works at a shelter making $30,000 a year. She doesn't work at a shelter, ma'am. She runs the Whitfield Foundation, one of the largest women's service nonprofits in the country. According to these records, she founded it 10 years ago after selling a tech startup. The foundation's annual budget is $47 million. Papers scattered as Grandma tried to grab them, her hands shaking. What startup? SafeConnect, I said quietly. I developed an emergency alert app for domestic violence survivors. Sold it to a tech company in 2015 for $32 million. I used most of that money to start the foundation. $32 million? Bradley choked out. You sold a company for $32 million? The foundation runs 17 shelters, Harold continued, reading from his documents. Employs over 200 people. Serves 10,000 women and children annually. And, it appears, has paid every medical bill for Mrs. Margaret Whitfield since her cancer diagnosis in 2021. Grandma was staring at me like she'd never seen me before. You paid for my treatment? The experimental immunotherapy your oncologist recommended, I said. Insurance wouldn't cover it. You needed it to survive. So I made sure you got it. But why didn't you tell me? Would you have accepted help from your failure granddaughter? I asked gently. The one wasting her life on charity work? Veronica found her voice. If you have all this money, why do you live in that tiny apartment? Because I don't need much space. And the neighborhood you called terrible? It's where one of our shelters is located. I live there so I can be close to the women we serve. The car? Bradley asked weakly. Runs perfectly fine. Why replace it? Uncle Richard was scrolling on his phone. Jesus Christ. There are articles about you. Forbes, Fortune, Nonprofit Quarterly. Nora Whitfield, the silent philanthropist revolutionizing domestic violence services. You won a CNN Heroes Award last year, Aunt Patricia read from her phone, her voice stunned. Why didn't you tell anyone? I did tell people, I said. I've mentioned the foundation at every family gathering for 10 years. But any time I brought it up, someone changed the subject or made a joke about my charity hobby. Eventually, I stopped trying. Harold was still reading through papers. Mrs. Whitfield, there's more. Nora has been paying for other family expenses as well. Your home renovation last year? The new roof, the accessibility modifications? That was paid through another trust she established. What? Grandma's voice was barely audible. I noticed you were having trouble with the stairs, I said. The contractor I hired specialized in aging-in-place modifications. The elevator, the wheelchair ramps, the bathroom renovations. They were necessary for your safety. How much? Grandma whispered. $340,000, Harold said. Paid in full by a trust Nora established specifically for your care. My mother was sobbing openly now. Nora, why didn't you say something? Would it have changed anything? I asked. Would it have made you proud of the work I do, or would you have just been impressed by the money? No one answered. Grandma was crying now too, tears streaming down her face. I called you a failure. I disinherited you. I told everyone you'd wasted your life. You believed what you wanted to believe, I said. I tried to explain what I do, but it didn't fit your definition of success. Corporate jobs, big salaries, impressive titles, that's what mattered to you. Helping vulnerable women and children wasn't real work. Nora, Grandma reached out a shaking hand. I'm so sorry. I'm so deeply, terribly sorry. I took her hand. I know, Grandma. Why did you keep paying my bills? After how I treated you? Because you're my grandmother. Because you raised me to believe in taking care of family. And because I could afford it. The money doesn't mean anything if I can't use it to help the people I love, Bradley spoke up, his voice subdued. Nora, I spent 30 minutes at Christmas explaining cryptocurrency to you like you were an idiot. I know, I said. I was actually invested in 3 crypto funds at the time. I just wanted to hear your perspective. Veronica laughed, but it sounded like a sob. I offered to help you apply for jobs at my firm. I thought you needed career guidance. You were trying to help, I said. I appreciated the thought. Harold cleared his throat. Mrs. Whitfield, regarding the will. Change everything, Grandma said immediately. Give it all to Nora. She's the only one who deserves it. No, I said firmly. Don't change anything. Split it among everyone as you planned. But you saved my life. You've been supporting me without asking for anything in return. Exactly. Without asking for anything in return. I don't want your money, Grandma. I want you to understand that success isn't just about wealth and status. It's about impact. About making people's lives better. About using your resources to help others. But I called you a failure in front of the whole family. You were wrong, I said simply. But I'm not going to punish you for it. I'm going to do what I've always done, take care of the people I love, whether they appreciate it or not. The room was silent except for the beeping of Grandma's monitor and the sound of my mother crying. Finally, Uncle Richard spoke. Nora, how can we help? The foundation, what do you need? I looked at him in surprise. You want to help? We've been idiots, he said bluntly. Self-absorbed, materialistic idiots who couldn't see past our own narrow definition of success. You've been doing something extraordinary, and we've been mocking you for it. So yes, how can we help? I pulled up the foundation's website on my phone. We always need volunteers, board members, donors, people willing to use their professional skills to support our programs. I'll serve on the board, Veronica said immediately. And my firm can provide pro bono legal services. Our hedge fund has a charitable giving program, Bradley added. I'll make sure the foundation is a priority. One by one, my cousins offered their support. Their expertise, their connections, their resources. The same people who'd applauded my disinheritance 30 minutes ago were now falling over themselves to help. Grandma was still holding my hand, tears continuing to fall. How do you not hate us? Because hate takes energy, I said. And I'd rather use my energy to help people who actually need it. Besides, Grandma, you taught me something important today. What's that? That unconditional love means loving people even when they don't see your value. Even when they call you a failure. Even when they cut you out of their will. You love them anyway, because that's what love is. That's not what I meant to teach you, she whispered. I know. But it's what I learned. Harold quietly packed up his papers. Mrs. Whitfield, would you like me to schedule another meeting to revise the will? Grandma looked at me. What do you want, Nora? I want you to get better, I said. I want you to have more years with your family. I want you to understand that the granddaughter working at a women's shelter is doing work that matters, even if it doesn't come with a corner office and a 6-figure salary. 7-figure, my mother said suddenly. Everyone turned to look at her. Nora, your salary from the foundation is public record for nonprofits over a certain size. You make $180,000 a year, plus the wealth from your startup exit. You're probably worth more than everyone in this room combined. Net worth isn't the same as self-worth, I said. I learned that from Grandma. She taught me that what you do with your life matters more than what you accumulate. I just applied that lesson differently than she expected. Grandma pulled me down into a hug, her frail arms surprisingly strong. I'm proud of you, she whispered. I should have said it years ago. I'm so incredibly proud of you. I know, Grandma, I said. I've always known. That wasn't entirely true. I'd spent years wondering if I was making the right choices, if my family would ever see the value in my work. But in that moment, holding my grandmother while my family looked on with new understanding, it felt true enough. The meeting broke up slowly. Cousins approached me one by one, apologizing, asking questions about the foundation, offering genuine interest for the first time in years. My mother hugged me for a long time, whispering apologies I told her weren't necessary. As I was leaving, Harold caught my arm. Ms. Whitfield, for what it's worth, what you did, paying her bills anonymously, not seeking credit, continuing to care for her even after today, that's extraordinary. It's what family does, I said. No, he said gently. It's what good people do. Your family is lucky to have you. I drove back to my 600 square foot apartment in my 15-year-old Honda, thinking about perception and reality, about success and failure, about love and pride. My phone rang as I pulled into my parking spot. Grandma's number. Nora? It's me. Hi, Grandma. I just wanted to say, the estate lawyer said you've been paying for everything. Not just medical bills. You've been covering the home care nurses, the meal service, the transportation to appointments. Everything. I wanted you to be comfortable, I said simply. Why? After how I treated you. Because you're my grandmother. Because you raised me. Because you taught me that family takes care of each other. You just forgot that lesson applied to me too. She was quiet for a moment. Will you come visit me tomorrow? Not for a family meeting. Just you and me? I'd like that. Bring your laptop. I want to see everything. The foundation, the shelters, the programs. I want to understand what you've built. Okay, Grandma. And Nora? Thank you. For saving my life. For loving me when I didn't deserve it. For being a better person than I ever taught you to be. You taught me more than you know, I said. Good and bad. I just learned to keep the good parts and leave the rest. After we hung up, I sat in my car for a while, watching the lights come on in the apartments around me. My building wasn't fancy, but it was home. And more importantly, it was 2 blocks from the women's shelter where I'd spent the morning helping a mother of 3 find emergency housing. Success, I'd learned, wasn't about impressing your family. It wasn't about corner offices or trust funds or appearing at the right social events. Success was knowing that somewhere tonight, a woman was sleeping in a safe bed because of the work I did. A child was eating dinner because of the programs I funded. A family was rebuilding because of the services I provided. That was worth more than any inheritance. That was worth everything.